What is up, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about the New Balance 574 Marvel Black Panther shoe. In case you didn't know, Marvel New Balance did decide to make a collaboration shoe to coincide with the release of the Black Panther movie. Personally, I think they knocked it out of the park, so let's get into the review. Starting off with the overall silhouette, it is a lifestyle shoe, so I would not recommend this for sports or running or anything of that sort, even though it is a New Balance shoe. But of course, you do have hints of a runner style shoe, most notably on the ankle area, this U shape, which does make it a lot easier to put the shoe on and off. And then of course, as you can tell, it's not the slimmest shoe. It is slightly bulky, which I did get a lot of critiques about that when I was wearing the shoes, but I don't really think it's that big of a deal considering it has several layers to it. Moving on to the aesthetics, it is a dark colorway and you get a mix of black and silver metallic accents all throughout the shoe, which was there to represent the vibranium suit that the Black Panther wears. And I think they did a really good job of implementing this color combo throughout the shoe. As you can see, you get dark and light hints all throughout the shoe. You got the four notable silver colors, which do vary because of the materials, and then the rest is mostly black. Up on the toe box, it is a mix of the black and silver and this rugged leather, which does kind of remind me of a camel pattern. And then you do get tribal details all throughout the shoe. Most notably, you do get what I believe to resemble most of the vibranium suit on the heel area. And I'm not gonna lie, when I did receive the shoe, I didn't really see it because I did get the shoe before I watched the movie, but after I watched the movie, I totally get how this resembles the vibranium shoe, and I think they did a really good job on that. You do have the term Wakanda on the pull tab, which I believe to be glued. I don't think it's stamped or debossed. On the inside of the insole, you do have the Black Panther logo, as you can see. Like I mentioned earlier, you have tribal symbols throughout the shoe that do represent Wakanda. And then on shoelace area, one of my favorite parts, you do have this Marvel lace keeper, probably one of the nicest touches in my opinion. I don't know why, it's just like the little details. Like this, it just stood out to me so much, and I think it looks so clean. On a very dark colorway, you just got this nice popping red, which I will say, like the red that they used on the lace keeper is almost exactly, if not exactly, like the Marvel red. I'm not sure if the lace keeper is metal, but it's definitely not just plastic. It is definitely more sturdy. And then you have the reflective 3M laces, and then the reflective 574 text up on the tongue as well. In terms of aesthetics, I think they did a really good job on the shoe. It's a dark colorway, so it is very low key, but at the same time, there's enough in this shoe that helps it stand out, specifically the 3M laces and the reflective touches. The end is also reflective, if I'm not mistaken, so it will stand out whenever you're wearing it, even though it is a dark colorway. Moving on to the materials, they do use rugged leather all throughout the shoe, and it is layered. You get one piece here and then another layer of leather on the toe box, and then on the midsection it is a different piece. And as you move to the back, you do have leather on the heel cup as well. And then on top of that, they do put pieces of plastic to add with the support. As you can see here, this is one piece of plastic, and on the heel counter they do add another piece of plastic for heel support. Continuing on to the heel, you do have another piece of leather, which is different than the rest of the leather found on the shoe, which I did find a little weird. I kind of wish they just stayed with the same theme throughout the shoe. It's a nice leather, but it just doesn't match with the rest of the shoe. It feels like it was just put on there. And of course, you have the mesh construction, which is where your foot is going to sit in for the most part. Because it's not a one-piece upper, that does explain why it's slightly a little bulkier than your other modern day shoes. At the same time, it is pretty comfortable, I will say. You do have some breathability up, as you can see some of the holes punched near the toe box, near the midsection. Moving on to the support of the shoe, I will say that these shoes are pretty supportive. There was no heel slippage for my use. Your foot stays put as long as you tie it pretty well. It's just an overall supportive lifestyle shoe, easy to walk in. The U-shaped ankle collar does make it a lot easier to put the shoe on and off, which is a design that I like a lot. Just makes it easier for you to hold onto the tongue and then just spread apart the shoe. Honestly, they didn't even have to add this tongue. They could have just kept this in and you could have used this end as a tongue, but I mean, it helps. In my opinion, would have been nicer if they just had Wakanda stamped here on the heel on this leather piece instead of just having the separate pull tab. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Moving on to the midsole, this is fresh foam cushioning, which is the cushioning technology New Balance has been pushing for a while now. A lot of people have claimed it to be pretty comfortable. I did like it. I prefer Boost. I did wear these for hours at the mall, walking around outside. I would say my feet started hurting after a while, like after an hour or two. It wasn't very comfortable. It actually kind of surprised me. In terms of midsole, I would say they're alright. They're not the most comfortable shoes. They're not the longest lasting comfort shoes, but they do their job. They're still more comfortable than most other shoes. It's not a hard material. It has a little bounce to it. It is supportive. And then as you can see on the midsole, this isn't a separate piece. They just painted the fresh foam silver down here just to match with the other silver and gray metallic accents all throughout the shoe. That does continue down to the outsole. The traction is alright, nothing special, but it does grip if you're concerned about that. It is elevated a little, as you can see. It should be able to last you for a while. I'm not entirely sure why this part is indented. I thought it was a pretty nice touch, but I mean, you're never gonna look at the outsole. As you can see, the midsole is the majority of the bottom of the shoe, and then the traction is just this little layer out here, but it does stick out kind of like a hiking shoe, which I'm not sure if that's what they were going for, but it works. And then I did find this pretty interesting on the fresh foam. I'm not sure if all of this is the fresh foam, because these two parts do vary. Just something to point out, I'm not sure what the difference between these two things is. I'm not sure if this is the outsole or if this is still part of the midsole. In terms of durability, they use quality materials all throughout the shoe. This shoe should be able to last you. I'm sure you can wear these every day for years as long as you're taking care of them. I will point out I have worn these shoes a few times, not in any like crazy type of environment, but they have gotten scuffed up. Just something to point out, which I was kind of very surprised at how easily it got scratches throughout, and I tried to like scratch them out, but they wouldn't. So just keep that in mind with at least the plastic materials used throughout the shoes. It lasting you, I'm sure you can wear these every day. The outsole should be able to last you a while. It should keep you comfy. The leather is gonna hold up. If anything, the leather is gonna break in and even look nicer over time, I believe. The durability for the shoe is there if you do care about that in terms of value. Now, in terms of fitting, I would recommend to go true to size. That's what I did, and they fit pretty well. I do have slightly wide feet, just pointing that out there. I didn't face any problems with the shoe, specifically more for like narrow to normal size feet. I could see you going half a size down. You do have a little give in the toe box, but nothing too crazy. If you just want to wear these comfortably and you do like a little space, then true to size will definitely work. If you want a snugger fit, maybe consider going half a size down. If you can't try these shoes in person, just get a regular New Balance 574, which I'm sure you can find in stores, and try those on to see. I do want to say one of my criticisms for the shoe, one thing I didn't like is that because of the different materials used throughout the shoe, like this plastic is different from this plastic heel counter. Of course, obviously it's different from like this rubbery type of texture on the New Balance logo, and then the paint that they use on the midsole. So all the silver accents, they're actually varying great colors. I'm not a big fan of that. I kind of wish they all match together. I would say that the end and this heel counter do work pretty well, but up on the collar area, this plastic is just completely different, and then the silver that they painted on the midsole on the fresh foam is just much brighter than the rest. I don't know if they did it on purpose, or you know, sometimes you can't get the same exact color hue because of the different materials. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, on the pull tab in the back, I do wish they put the Wakanda stitched or embossed in the heel, on the leather heel, instead of this pull tab with this Wakanda plastic material glued on. If you see it in person, in my opinion, it looks a little cheap. It just looks like they just like stamped it on there out of nowhere. I am afraid that it'll fall out over time just because it just seems to be glued on there, and I wouldn't be surprised if it just started peeling off with more wear and tear. So yeah, that's about it. Overall, my conclusion on these shoes is I really like it. I really like it. I had some friends critique it. They found it a little too bulky, found it a little too much like a dad shoe. I kind of feel like that gives it that unique aesthetic look to it that you don't find on a lot of other shoes nowadays. A lot of more modern contemporary shoes, they have that sleek one-piece upper going for them, and after a while, you know, they all start looking the same. This, you know, stands out from the bunch. Not to mention it's a Marvel shoe. Overall, I just really like the aesthetics of the shoe. I like the design. I like the representation. I think they did a really good job of representing the Black Panther universe and film on this shoe. The vibranium suit matches really well with the colorway and the texture they added throughout. I would recommend these shoes. If you're on the fence with these, I would say go ahead and cop them. They weren't that bad. I paid $140 including shipping for a shoe nowadays. That's not bad at all. I wouldn't be surprised if these go for a higher resale price over time. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised these shoes didn't get a lot of hype just to begin with. But yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you love it, sub down. Let me know how you feel about these shoes. I'm actually very curious on how other people felt about it. From my experience, I'm one of the few that did. And of course, as always, until next time, take care.
Welcome. Big shot.
Hold up, wait.
Peanut butter insides.
No.
Outside. Cocaine white body look like Gentiles. Gentiles. Emotional. Why you emotional? Why you emotional?